To crochet this little hat, I'll be using this 4.5mm crochet hook, and today I'm using this Aran weight yarn. I'm going to be using two colors. I'll be using this light gray color with pink. You can use any yarn weight as well, and you can make this hat for any size, any age, with any hook size. In the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave some standard size measurements so that you can make your hat for any size, any age. I'll leave you the head circumference and the total height of the hat. So here to begin, I have a total of 58 chains. Now this chain here is in multiples of 2. Make sure that when you make your chain, measure this chain based on the head circumference, or you can measure this around the head of the person that you're going to make this for, and based on that, make your chain in multiples of 2. For me, I have 58 chains, and without stretching or anything, it's measuring about 14.25 inches, which is about 36 centimeters. So make sure to look in the information box for those standard size measurements, and based on that, make your initial chain, which is the head circumference measurement there. So here, to begin, we're going to join to the first chain. So I have 58. I'm going to do this so that chain is not twisted or anything. And we're going to join to the first chain. Now join with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now into the first chain, which is the same one here where we joined, right there, insert your hook and make a half double crochet. Half double crochet into the next chain, half double crochet into the next, and so on. For this first row, this is all I'm going to do. 1 half double crochet on each chain. At the end of this first row, I'm going to have 58 half double crochets. Continue, I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 58 half double crochets. Remember, the chain here at the beginning does not count as a stitch. To finish here, just go on top of the first half double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row. Now for the second row, chain 1. In this row, we're going to make front post and back post half double crochets. Beginning into the first half double crochet, make a front post half double crochet. Into the next, back post half double crochet. Into the next, front post half double crochet, and so on. This is all we're going to do for this second row. Front post and back post half double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this second row. This is where I did front post and back post half double crochet. My last stitch here is a back post. Now to finish, go on top of the first half double crochet and join with a slip stitch. Now for rows 3 and 4, we're going to repeat the same thing. Chain 1, and here we're just going to work these stitches as they are. The first stitch is a front post half double crochet, so make a front post half double crochet. The next one, back post half double crochet. Next one, front post half double crochet, and so on. This is all we're going to do for the third row. To finish, just go on top of the first half double crochet, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing for row 4. I think I'm going to do about 4 rows here. If it's more or less, continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do for my brim. So I will meet you at the end of that row. I did a total of 4 rows here for the brim. So here at the end, I just joined, cut my yarn, passed my yarn through that last loop. And this part here is done. Now the brim is done, and this is how it looks. From here on, this last row that we did is going to be the bottom of the brim, so we're going to turn it over like this, and this part here is going to be the top part of the hat. We're going to start working the body of the hat here. So to begin here, I'm going to change to this pink yarn, and I'm going to go right here. This is where I did the half double crochet, so right to the side here at the beginning. Grab a loop, bring it through, chain 1, and now right here into this same space here, make a double crochet. Now what I'm going to do next is into each one of these columns of front post half double crochets that you see here, we're going to work the leaf pattern. So yarn over, insert your hook like this, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops on the hook, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off. Now I'm going to make a double crochet, and I'm going to go into this space immediately next to the leaf pattern. So right there, make a double crochet. Now yarn over, go into the next column here of front post half double crochets, insert your hook like this, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops on the hook, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off. Now right next to it, make a double crochet. Again, into the next column here of half double crochets, make your leaf pattern. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops on the hook, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off, and right next to it into this space, make a double crochet. One more time, into the next column of front post half double crochets, work your leaf pattern. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off, and here is the stitch. This is how we're going to continue all around. I will meet you at the end of this first row. I'm here at the end of this first row. I have a total of 58 stitches all around. I have 29 double crochets and I have 29 leaf patterns. Now to finish here at the end, join to the beginning with a slip stitch. And here is the first row with a total of 58 stitches. Now in the first row, I started with a double crochet. In this second row, I'm going to start the row with the leaf stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook like this into this double crochet, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops on the hook, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off, yarn over, on top of the leaf stitch here, make a double crochet, and into the double crochet next to the leaf, make a leaf stitch. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop. I have 5 loops, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off. Now on top of the leaf stitch here, make a double crochet, and into the double crochet, work your leaf stitch. That's all we're going to do for this second row. Again, on top of the leaf stitch, make a double crochet, and into the double crochet of the row below, work your leaf stitch. There. And that's all I'm going to do all around. Continue, I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this second row. My last stitch here is a double crochet. Because we started the row with a pattern stitch here, I'm going to end the row here with a double crochet. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And here's the second row. I have a total of 58 stitches. I have 29 of these pattern stitches and I have 29 double crochets. Now from here on, these are the 2 rows that we're going to repeat, and really the only difference is the way that you start each row. In this row that we just finished, I started the row with one of these leaf patterns. Now in row 3, I'm going to start with a double crochet. So to do this, I'm going to chain 1 and into this first stitch here, make a double crochet. Now into the next stitch, which is the double crochet, work your leaf pattern. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, 5 loops, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off, yarn over, on top of the leaf stitch here, make a double crochet, and into the double crochet here, work your leaf pattern. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off. On top of the leaf stitch, make a double crochet, and then again into the double crochet, work your leaf pattern. And this is all we're going to do here for this third row. To finish, you're just going to join here to the beginning with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to look how you're going to begin the next row. If you start with a double crochet, the row that you just finished, then you're going to start with the pattern stitch on the next row, and so on. You're just going to alternate between these 2 rows. Now, I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do, so I will meet you at the end of that row. Okay, did a total of 13 pattern rows, including the brim. It's measuring about 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. Now, For this size, which is 3 to 6 month size, the total length or the total height needs to be about 6 inches or about 15 centimeters. So I still have about 5 centimeters or about 2 inches left from the total height. So we're going to now switch to a different hook size, and we're going to continue with the same pattern. So the only difference here is that we're going to use a 3.5 millimeter hook instead of the 4.5 millimeter hook that I'm using. If you're making this using any other hook size, just go down a full hook size and continue for a total of about 3 rows until we have about 2 centimeters left from the total height. So to start this part, it's the same. We're just going to continue and do the same thing. The only difference is that we're now using a smaller hook size. So here to begin, chain 1. The last row that I did, I started with a double crochet. So in this row, I need to start with the leaf pattern. So yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop. I have 5 loops on the hook, take 4 loops off, take 2 loops off, and then on top of this leaf stitch, make a double crochet. This part here is the same. You're just going to continue all around. I recommend that you put a stitch marker here. I'm going to mark this first row. That way I can tell you how many rows I'm going to do for this hat. Continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So I will meet you at the end of that row. Okay, did a total of 3 rows here with this 3.5 millimeter hook. As it is, it's measuring about 13 centimeters, so I still have about 2 centimeters left from the total height. So we're going to make 2 more rows, and here we're going to decrease. So to begin here, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to chain 1. Now for this first row of decreases, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to make a double crochet here, but I'm not going to close the double crochet. I'm going to grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over. Now go into the next double crochet, and here we're going to work our leaf stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop. I have 6 loops on the hook, 2, 4, 6. We're going to pass the yarn through 5 loops like this. I have 2 loops on the hook, close. Let me show you again. On top of the next leaf stitch, make a double crochet, but do not close this double crochet. Leave 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next double crochet, and work your leaf stitch. So grab a loop, yarn over, grab a loop. I have 6 loops on the hook. Take 5 loops off, take 2 loops off. Again, go on top of the next leaf stitch and make a double crochet, but don't close this double crochet. Leave 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next double crochet here and work your leaf stitch. I have 6 loops. Take 5 loops off, take 2 loops off. And that's all we're going to do. Let me show you again. You're going to yarn over, go on top of the next leaf stitch, and make a double crochet, but do not close this double crochet. Leave 2 loops. Yarn over, go into the next double crochet, and work your leaf stitch. I have 6 loops on the hook. Take 5 loops off, take 2 loops off. And that's all we're going to do all around. Continue. I will meet you here at the end of this row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this row of decreases. I have a total of 29 stitches. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now we're going to work 1 more row of decreases here, and this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to chain 1. Now yarn over. We're going to work into the front post of each one of these stitches that remain from the previous row. These are the leaf stitches. So insert your hook like this, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, yarn over, insert your hook into the next, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next leaf stitch, and work this front post double crochet, but don't close the stitch. Leave 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next leaf and work this front post double crochet, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next leaf, make a front post double crochet, take 2 loops off, yarn over, Insert your hook into the next leaf stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops, close. And that's all we're going to do all around. We're going to make these front post double crochet decreases. I'll meet you here at the end of this last row. I finished the second row decreases. I have a total of 15 stitches all around. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now cut your yarn, make sure you leave a nice long tail, pull a loop here and tie a knot. Now with one of these yarn needles, we're going to weave this yarn all around. Skip one into the next, insert the needle, skip one and into the next, insert the needle, and so on. Now put this yarn through the inside here of the hat and pull this yarn here that was left, and with this loop that we made here at the end of the row, tie a knot. Now this part here is done. I just need to hide my ends, and this is how it looks. Here's the top of the hat. I'm going to remove this stitch marker, we don't need it anymore. This little hat is all done, and that's how it looks. Now let me try it on one of my little models here. Now her head size is for a 3 to 6 month size, so let's try it on her. There, I think it fits perfect. Now you can also make this hat for any size, any age, using the standard size measurements that I'm going to leave in the information box. You can use any yarn weight with any hook size, so make sure to look there. I absolutely love this stitch pattern. I think I'm going to make myself a hat using this stitch, so stay tuned. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.